Oh, that's my better side.
But this so can capture you guys when you present as well. Okay, we are live.
Okay. First of all, I apologize for last week. Just an update, as you know, the search is on for the Economic Development Coordinator. Crystal and I start interviews next week. So we're moving forward in that. So that's all really the only other informational update I personally have. So if we want to move on to the agenda, the first item we have is the consideration for approval of the JLDC financial reports. Are there any questions? You had some questions earlier. Did you have anything in particular about this? Again, just because you don't have one today doesn't mean you can't always shoot me in your own ass.
Right. No, I'm good.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. So next up on the agenda, we have the consideration for approving a loan request to Monroe and Moore LLC, and I'll let Crystal and Keane take that over.
Yes. Before we go into deep and we turn things over, I'll give a kind of the high level overview. And I just want to introduce and also make sure, Wayne, I believe this is your first in-person meeting.
No,
No, he was here. He was here.
Oh, was that the one I missed?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
First one you and I together.
Yes, okay. So everybody has met and everyone knows each other then. I don't know, did you meet Tim at that meeting?
I believe so.
Yeah,
briefly.
okay.
Okay.
So, Tim O'Dell is our American Rescue Plan grants manager. He also has stepped up to help with the economic development coordinator position in the interim while we're sort of figuring things out. So, Tim has been a huge help, and I'm going to let him be excused because he did have another commitment tonight, but wanted to make sure that he was here for the first few minutes and wanted to show his face and make sure that there weren't any questions that he might have the specific answers to. Again, I'll give the really high level overview with the loan report, and we'll let Tim go, and then we'll turn things over to Dylan and Adam to talk about their loan request and tell us what they've been up to. So they are seeking a $150,000 loan. So a couple of things here you'll see as part of the request. Our typical term limits are 10 years. We have done 20-year terms. With the last loan application that we had that we did end up approving for a 20-year term, rather than approving it for a 4% interest rate, we, the board elected to increase that to a 5%. So that's sort of where that sits right now. I did mention that to Dylan and Adam in advance. This is up for discussion by the board. We'll let them give their presentation before obviously we make any decisions, but I wanted to just make sure that I put that out there and let everyone know. We see what's in the report. We do acknowledge that typical terms are 10 years. The request is for 20, so that is something they are seeking. As far as collateral, first position on machinery and equipment, accounts receivable and all assets of the company would be with the city, or with the JLDC, my apologies. And then they will both have personal guarantees, or I'm sorry, not both. Dylan, who is the owner of Monroe and Moore, will offer his personal guarantee. Would you like to come up to the table, Brett?
Sure.
That's right.
You're
Here, come on over. Just pass that packet down to me, and we'll be all set.
Thank you.
Here you go. Thanks. We're just getting started on the presentation. So, as far as anything else goes, I think to kind of really dive into project description, I won't do that here. I'll let you guys take it away, and then we can answer any questions once you guys are done. And then on that note, Tim, I appreciate you coming and all your work on this, and if you wanna go to take care of your other commitment,
Sure, appreciate
feel
it.
free. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay,
Alright,
floor is yours.
First, my name is Dylan Monroe. I'm the owner of Monroe & Moore LLC. I'm also a father of 4 Jamestown kids, all are boys. My oldest son is a sophomore in high school. He plays for the Red Raiders. I help coach. I'm also a firefighter for the city. And through these avenues, I've been able to see directly how the diminishing housing stock has affected our community and kind of our families within the community. So our business, when I decided to start the business, I wanted to kind of develop the business around the same ethical decision making that I had to do when I was in the Sheriff's Academy and in the Fire Academy and as a firefighter. And that was the thing that I wanted to portray with my business is something that stuck with me when I was in the Sheriff's Academy, was omnipresence. And I wanted to show the community that we were present, we were here, and we were a resource. And through that, when I created our mission, I decided to create the development of the business in 3 phases. And phase 1 was to build a foundation and create a strong company foundation. And through that, the expectation when I started the business far outgrew where we are now. We are a much larger business than I could have hoped for, and that is why I feel we're ready for phase 2, and that's to help implement change in my community. I serve the community in many ways, and I'd like my business to do the same. We want to be a resource for the community to help implement the change of the housing crisis that we have, the housing stock, and provide new opportunities for those that might not be able to afford it. The third phase of our development, I wanted to provide opportunities. So the goal after we get through phase 2 is to be able to create an environment where I can provide more employment and more growth and opportunities for those within my company and those within the community. And as we grow through phase 2, we've come to a point where we need new equipment. We need equipment that we've now outgrown the trailer, the truck, the hammer, the nails. We're moving into bigger, larger projects. Our goal is to take on some properties and develop the model that we've been working on for a few years now. The main goal that we wanted to portray to the city is that we want to keep this homegrown. We want to show that, I'm a very relatable person to a lot of the individuals in the community, and I want to show to those with lesser opportunities that it doesn't stop there. If you keep grinding and you keep your mission, you can get to where you want to be. And with the growth of this business, I believe that I can give back and help our community. With that being said, I want to turn it more towards the financial side of what we're asking for now, and I want to turn it over to our finance and development specialist, Adam. He will get into more of the finance side of the business, but I hope that I portrayed in that beginning that what our business stands for.
but Dylan was able to give that intro. You see that he wants to move mountains. He's a Jamestown kid. You know, he grew up and he wants to see his neighborhood be better than what it was. And in recent years, he's seen it potentially take some steps back, and we're all acknowledging some hurdles. He knows that he's not going to be able to carry that mantle by himself. But those that want to move mountains need to start by moving small stones. So we're asking for a skid steer and an excavator, not only to have a specific crew that's going to make money with that, renting out about 1 day a week, to make money to service the debt and provide income for the business, but he also wants to expand his capabilities. A lot of the earnings have been plowed back into the business, and that money's been spent on training employees, outfitting these covered trailers. I mean, it's amazing, you go in there and everything's perfectly organized and everything. But you can only put so much money towards nicer hammers until you have to really focus in on that property, plant, and equipment, make sure you're running your business in a tax efficient way, and increasing your capabilities. So that's really what the ask is for. Any questions on the direction of the project?
I might be missing something here. How many employees do you have?
So we have four employees, including myself.
Okay. And will there be more?
Yes, we're looking to add many more.
So you put in here, are you doing excavation services now, or is that what you're looking to branch off into?
So we've reached a pinch point in our development. We're doing new builds at the moment, but
When you say new builds, you're talking about you're working on residential facilities, you're building.
yes, we're working with, I'm a general contractor. I'm overseeing ADUs,
Okay.
additions, new builds,
Okay.
etc.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
The specifics exactly, I mean, I read
Yes.
through this obviously
Yes.
before I came, I want to hear
Yes.
specifics exactly what you guys are doing.
Yes.
So
So
doing any commercial stuff or doing residential?
we're about 98% residential.
Okay.
We do commercial work, but it's mostly in the institution, which, I'm sorry, the Chicago institution, which can be considered commercial, but it's more of trustees and HOAs and so on and so forth. But we do a lot of work in that area. As for the residential development, to get back to the question before, is we've reached a pinch point of the development of the business. We're subbing out these key factors of the total project. We can't control within a licensed plumber and a licensed electrician. Those are specialty trades. But we can control the excavation, foundation, concrete work. We have a group. When I say group, it's about 3 individuals that are ready and experienced in that realm that would like to take the steps to operate and run our excavation and foundation work. That is key to our success going forward. If we can take that step out, now we only need those specialty trades that you can't just go and be an apprentice for a day. You have to do years.
So you're subbing that sort of stuff out?
Correct.
So now if you do this,
Correct.
you'll be
So
able
you
to do
wanna-
that without
Correct.
subbing out, so it'll save you money,
Save us a
some
lot of money.
time.
Exactly.
You
You
We're
wanna
not
create-
at the mercy of a sub.
Right.
We're not at the mercy of the sub's work ethic,
Or schedule.
and scheduling and employee issues. We can keep it internal. The goal is to keep as much of the project as possible internal.
So you're looking at potentially adding 3 more employees in the very short term?
Correct.
If you were to receive funding and be able to purchase
Correct.
equipment?
Correct. And those 3 employees would be an operator, a grounds guy,
Okay.
and a equipment driver.
How much of your business actually happens in Jamestown proper?
I would say about 78% of my business is in Jamestown. The other portion is mostly in the county. We do a lot of work in Erie County, but it's an issue getting crew members that far. We like to stay within the county. We are doing work in the city. The only issue is the growing. We've been fortunate within our growth to provide services to those who can afford it. Now, we want to provide those services to areas that house those that can't, which will help us, which will help our development and training and presence within the goal of the city, being within the city. But yes, we do a lot of work in Jamestown. We are not doing many builds in Jamestown because, as we know, there's not much building going up. But we're doing drywall, roof repairs, emergency roof repairs, painting, just multiple odd services.
We've predicted we'll get a good amount of organic traffic just by letting people know that we have this equipment. The business that we're going to go out of our way to try to court is going to focus on aligning the goals of city planning and county planning. Specifically, we'd really like to court some business to develop these brownfield sites. We've got everything mapped here out in the county. We know where we want to be. This is Italy. We're trying to be operating from Rome at some point here. But we see a lot of demand, and you can look through historical charts about redlining and health outcomes and all the rest. If people aren't able to get a mortgage back in the day, property values have been suffering for decades. If your neighbor's house isn't a house anymore, you're going to get more scrutiny from the bank even today. They're not supposed to collude with the appraisers, but they do. Appraisers have to work a lot less hard in nice neighborhoods than they do in ones that are dealing with active blight. So that's really where we want to target any marketing efforts, is strictly on aligning the goals of other community partners. We know we can't do it ourselves, but we do have an operating business that generates revenues, and this is going to add a more tax-efficient revenue stream to it. So it's definitely an exciting prospect for us.
So you're looking at the revenue streams from the for-profit side of the business, right? They use that term to help fund some of the charitable work that you wanted to do.
Correct. And when we say
I wouldn't even say charitable.
The goal is to update the housing side, right? And that's going to be a profitable margin in that.
So you're looking at flipping.
I would say more demolition and rebuild is what we're looking to do.
Mhm.
We're looking to take down some of this hazardous housing
Understand.
stock and rebuild.
Mhm.
That's what we're good at. We're good at building for much more cost-effective means.
And there's a goodwill that we're looking to foster with doing this. So in
Sure.
a way, we're trading the risk of these projects and the opportunity cost of a better project for the goodwill that comes from that. It's not really a charitable endeavor.
I understand now.
It's
Yeah.
serving the
Right.
community, but
Correct.
it's not.
Yep,
Right.
you're taking ownership of these properties, the risk of the,
Correct. Correct.
at a minimum breaking even on those properties.
Maybe owning them, maybe we're just taking control of the site. And that's the key thing, where we're going to increase our dollar value as a company and our value that we can add to a customer is by controlling the site.
Mhm.
Do you own any rental properties right now?
No, I don't own any rental properties. I do a lot of work on rental properties, but no.
Do you
My
have
goal is,
intentions of buying some of these places, fixing them up, and having rental properties?
I would say that I would never say that I don't want to, but no, I don't want. That's never been in my plan. My side is to develop them, and if somebody wants to purchase it and rent it, that's on them. I'm far too busy to be a landlord.
We'd like to see consumers get qualified for these. We'd like to see people get SBA loans to open up manufacturing facilities. That's what we'd like to see. So if we can,
Are you gonna do demolitions
Are we going to do
with
it?
this equipment? Would you be able to?
Yes, our goal is to work towards the complete demolition package. These are the building blocks. We want to provide the demolition service to the city.
You plan on, becoming qualified to deal with asbestos abatement?
Correct. We've looked into the asbestos abatement program, and we've, in the initial phase, we would like to sub that out and just handle the demolition until I can get a dedicated crew to the abatement. At that point, we would have a dedicated specialist to abatement, because abatement in itself is a whole nother monster. We would need a lot more equipment. The goal is to take this first toe into the water and build up to being a resource for the city to get some of these properties demolished and move forward.
How many companies do we have now? 2 that do demos?
2 that can do abatement that are local, 4 that we regularly can use and count on being available for demo,
Right.
1 of which is blacklisted right now,
And that's,
because they were doing improper abatement.
right. And we're always working around their schedule. 'Cause
Yeah.
some of them, this is their
A
secondary
lot,
side.
yes, a lot of them, whether it's local or it's even, countywide, or even going into some of the Buffalo ones that we tap into, they do paving. So
Right.
we're at the mercy of the paving schedule and the weather,
Right,
and they can start when things, weather starts to change, but that makes things slow for us for demolition.
And our
So
goal.
having more demolition contractors is certainly something we're interested in.
and you can see the excavator in action on 21. That's the E60, and it's reaching down into a basement.
Yeah.
So you can get down in there.
Right. And our goal is to be that resource for the city. We know that there's major players in the demolition business right now that kind of have a cornerstone on it. Our goal is to basically be an asset to the city, so that when that call does come, there is somebody there. And that's kind of how we're developing this process. We know at home there's a need and we can fulfill it. But we also know that the equipment needs to be in operation on those days that it's not needed by the city, so that we have plans for development of these sites. Once they're demolished, once they are clear, we hope that we can take care of some of the holes in the cities, holes in the streets, and we can help,
Where's the financing coming for that? That's the, you guys are funds, where's that? I'm just curious
So
about that.
the business, my business will fund a large majority of it. We have private investors that are looking to also help with acquisition of property and development. We also would like to go through the state entities and the government entities to see if we can get help there with maybe quantities of properties to get them done at once. When I say at once, there's a time schedule, but in a bulk project.
I don't wanna put you guys in the hot seat any more than you already are. We've had some initial conversations, so Dylan, I'd like for you guys to talk a little bit about the property in town that you're looking at and what you wanna do with it.
Okay.
But also sort of with the caveat that, we've just had some initial conversations, so, as we were talking, I think before everyone got here, we were having some casual conversation about some housing initiatives that, we've been working on in Department of Development, and some things that we've talked about, and I'm sure all of you have heard about, modular infill, and can we do that here locally? Can we manufacture locally? We've talked with, there are a few There's a company in Pittsburgh called Module that has a really great model. They're extremely costly. We would have to find some pretty significant subsidy to make those affordable here. We have talked with them about potentially locating a manufacturing facility here, but again, it doesn't necessarily bring the cost of their components down enough to make it affordable for Jamestown residents. There's another company in Dunkirk, Fredonia area that we are setting up conversation with. I guess my point to this is it doesn't have to be just one, it probably can't be just one. We are looking at lots of options for potential modular type construction and doing some sort of pilot project that we build a few, we find funding to do that. We're already looking at where some of that funding could come from, and looking at that as one of the potential tools for addressing the housing crisis that we have and the affordable housing crisis that we have. So with all of that background, we have had some very preliminary conversation with Dylan and Adam, because that is, and I don't want to steal your thunder, one of their goals as part of their long-term growth plan. And if you want to take over part of this, I think, potential acquisition.
Correct. So, over the last 4 years, I've been harnessing and developing this plan to create modular, affordable homes. And as of the last year and a half, I've had a I've pushed hard to get this started. We've already developed, we have 2 in stock, and we did a soft release of 1. Through that, we found the majority want during those time frames were ADUs. To create an ADU for mom that's passing away, need a space off the back of the house, this home would be perfect. Through that process, we realized that we had an affordable option for living and housing. So through the last few months of discussion, my goal is to manufacture these homes in our city. I've looked at a location on 16 Scott Street, and I think it would be perfect for the manufacturing center for our tiny homes. The building is structurally sound, definitely needs some work, but I think that we're the right candidate for that spot because we can do a lot of the work internally. As we've developed the idea of the modular home process, we've realized that we needed to get into phase 2, which was start to develop properties. In order to do so, we wanted to take out the large pinch that's in the very beginning of the development: demolition, foundation, excavation, and site clearing. If we could eliminate that large cost paying subcontractors, it would bring our price even lower than it already is compared to the competitor. And that's our goal, is to stay humble with our pricing. We want to provide the housing at a profit, but not at a profit exponential and comparable to the competitor. And I believe that our city is perfect for this model, and we would really like to be a part of that process, especially as a homegrown guy, to be a part of changing the horizon, if you will, would be kind of meeting the goal. That's it.
I don't want to
overstep you, but this is a family business.
Correct.
One of your boys is gonna be running this business, and you're looking to create the business environment that they're gonna operate in.
Correct.
It's not about profit maximization in the short term.
No.
It's about fixing the blight so that the whole area can rise.
And not to sound, cliche here, but my goal is not the profit. My goal is that my boys who carry my name will provide to their community with that same logo on the truck, the same logo on the shirt. When my trucks drive through the city, I want it to be respected as a piece of the city that's homegrown, that helps provide change. I want to be a part of that and create a legacy company that I can pass to hopefully one of my boys, right? And just to give a little background with Adam, my understanding when I went into business is I'm not going to sit in front of anyone and say I know everything, but I know I can in the areas that I'm not strong at. I can hire the correct people so that we can see any project or any development through the whole business. So hiring a strong front office was a key point to me. I played football for the city. I'm a football kind of guy, and the offensive line is everything, right? And my front office is my offensive line.
I'm the pulling card.
Adam is the center, right? Adam is key to our development. He understands development. He understands finance, and together with the rest of the offensive line, we're able to create, that team and that trust. And if you looked into my business or checked into any of my references, my customers would say that one of the key positives to my business is the relationship that we build with the customer. And that starts with, there's a standard. My customer will hear from everyone in my front office during the project. My assistant will give them a call, hey, we're gonna be there, so on and so forth. Adam will call, hey, are you ready for the project, how is it going? My foreman will be there and overseeing the crew, and I'll pop in to all the sites all day long, making sure that the unit as a whole is operating correctly. And that's kind of the goal, because that is the whole package when you have any company, any team. If you could create that strong front and create that mentality, it's all up from there. And that's honestly why I believe that our company's trajectory has been, we've seen growth every year, compounding, and I hope it continues that way.
Good, quick question. So
Yes.
your home address is
Yes.
165 Benedict,
Yes.
but right now you're operating out of the village of Fulton.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask you a tough question.
Yes.
You're asking this board for $150,000, but you're operating out of the village of Faulkner, your LLC
Yes.
is at a residence in Benedict. Why should we give you $150,000 when your building is currently out of Faulkner?
Yes, sir.
What happens if we give you $150,000 and you stay down in Faulkner, and you don't purchase this building over on Scott Street, and you're operating your business out of Faulkner with $150,000 at Jamestown?
Correct. Now, it's a very easy answer for me. I was operating out of my house. We grew. I couldn't run a business out of my house anymore. I didn't want to
Sure.
disturb my neighborhood. My house is not a business address. I needed space. And unfortunately, the only space that could outfit my business was in Faulkner. Our goal is to be in Jamestown. I'm thoroughly a Jamestown citizen. I would like my business to be in the city, but at the space that we're at right now, there's nothing in the city that can outfit my business.
Kind of the chicken and the egg thing.
I need to acquire the space and outfit the business to fit. Or if a space opens that can suit my business, we'd be more than happy to move back to the city. But to answer your question, it was not our goal, and it is not our goal to stay in Faulkner. It is just the only area and the only space that we could operate at the time when my business was growing too large, and on a city block, I have 5-6 trucks at 6 in the morning leaving my house.
And we don't have employees in Faulkner.
Yeah.
It's just the spot that was, you know,
It was there.
available and been from,
So as soon as the opportunity arises, we'd be more than happy to move back to town.
So how, whereabouts are you in the process of making that potential acquisition? And I know that we've talked, so.
Yes. So,
it's not on the brownfield list.
Right.
This doesn't-
we've looked at multiple properties, to develop our own garage. The big issue is that most of the vacant property that's deemed commercial has environmental issues. So for us to acquire the property and build the business, we can't, without the proper equipment, we can't afford to take on the land and handle the environmental issues that are there. So we've been searching high and low. Just a lot of the deemed commercial empty lots aren't developable right now.
Is there environmental issues on Scott Street with that building?
Yeah, it's existing,
There's a
it's not,
super-
it's something that they could,
That building in particular is very sound, it's just been neglected.
yeah.
But I'm talking about.
Is there been a
So it's
phase
within-
1 or a
it's-
phase 2 there?
It would need to have new ones done, because they have to be redone every 6 months anyway. But for the use that they wanna use it for, they're not creating residential, they're
Right.
not, certainly they would want to have the results of those to make sure they're operating in a safe interior that is safe for, employees. But, as far as everything else is concerned, zoning, condition of the building, and its specific location, it is very suitable for what they wanna do with it. And up until it closed, their offices were in use and, they had people in there, so. There's no known hazard, right? Like, I would not be afraid to walk in there and I have spent time there.
We recently did. They have been in a lot. I know you guys have been in since I took office in January multiple times, going through things, trying to figure this out, so I appreciate that. The other thing I do wanna note, you've said over and over you're a family-owned business, but you're also working for your MBE,
Yes.
which I think is important, which is the minority business entrepreneurship, so.
75% through it.
They just gotta get our signatures and our
Couple signatures
final
and
balance
everything.
sheet.
I
And one-
appreciate the fact that you're a firefighter and you live in the city.
Yep,
Thank you.
same.
I don't plan that relief, so.
Same. But I will say that alone, the state and the feds have been very critical of us about encouraging minority women-owned businesses, so, thank you.
Thank you. And like I said, through the development of what we've had, being a minority-owned business, being a firefighter in the city, being a father, being a coach of the high school football team, the goal, like I said, is just to be in my community. That's what I strive for. And after I pass, like I said, the M on my businesses, what I'm hoping to leave behind to show, our stamp on the city, right?
I have some questions specifically about this, because I commend you on your passion for this and your long-term plans.
Yes.
But right now, we're focusing specifically on this loan
Yes.
for this equipment.
Mhm.
Now, when I look at the loan request being the 20 years, as you started the process with, I'm assuming that the useful life of this equipment is less than 20 years. It'll probably still be around in 20 years, but the textbook answer would be less than 20 years useful life on these things. So I really respect the cash flow,
Yes.
trying to keep that down. But should we be concerned about a 20-year term on equipment that might only last 10 to 15?
So we'd be more than comfortable having a debt covenant,
Yeah,
checking in every 7 years.
right.
Whatever's necessary there. The project is more than 20 years long.
Right.
So that's part of the reason why we want to structure it in that way.
Yeah, I'm focusing primarily on the documents that we've been provided that focus strictly on the equipment,
Right.
not this backstory that goes
Correct.
with it.
Yes.
So that's where I guess I'm concerned, because you're gonna be needing more equipment before these loans are paid off. But you're saying that this whole project description should encompass some of the narrative that we're talking about here as well.
Yeah. And for our revenue projections, we used a minimal viable product approach, something that's more common in like software startups, where you don't say, oh, I have this grand business idea, and this is how I'm gonna acquire this customer and this one, and this is how much they're gonna buy. We kind of built it from the ground up, like, okay, how much cash flow do we need to service the debt twice per year? You know, what do we need to get you there? So if we had a shorter repayment period, it would not put us in a negative cash flow position. We just
Okay.
have to run the crew more than one day a week.
Right.
Which takes you away from some of the other objectives that you're trying to do to generate cash.
Potentially, but
If we have a
For the
dedicated
terms.
crew,
Yeah.
the goal, running the equipment one day a week is not the goal.
Right.
We put a very conservative use on the equipment, one day a week. If we hire 3 individuals to operate this equipment, the goal is to have them operating 5
5
times
days a week.
it could be a
right? So the financial projections that are on there are very conservative compared to what the potential of this acquisition can do for the business.
Right.
And the unit cost of having the crew and the equipment per day is also very conservative. We used a pricing model where we basically said, okay, this is what the person's gonna cost per hour, and this is what the rental would be. And we didn't mark that up, so it's just that. So with seasonal variations and things like that, we can definitely find a way to price maximize, but it's probably not going to be necessary.
Do you guys know, I'm asking because I don't know
Mhm.
what the average cost right now of a large excavator goes for per hour, say if someone's building a
Yes.
home
So
and they want a foundation dug out and everything else, what does that cost if I'm gonna go hire someone?
So I've got that in the sales portion, sorry, I don't think I sent the Excel file, but, 1724 per day for those 2 pieces of equipment delivered and picked up. That does not include gas.
Yes.
So that's
Almost
just
$2,000 a
for
day.
somebody that owns it to drop it off
Correct.
and
Yeah,
come back
I
and
know
pick
it's
it up.
not cheap.
No.
That's not 2 operators that want $50 an hour, that's not, you know,
That's good.
Yes.
$50 a day for gas, you know.
So would it be fair to say that, you know, you're going $150,000, but yeah, you're doing a 20-year term, but you might bang this loan out early.
Oh, yeah.
That's like making a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
grand a
Yeah,
day
yeah.
possible.
Oh, yeah.
We have a strategy for that. Not to make things more complicated, but if we get a pre-approval, we can potentially get grant funding to reimburse us for some of the cost too. So,
Yes.
And is that funding that you'd be able to put back into paying off the loan
Correct.
early?
Yes.
yeah, ideally, we'd probably go to the Jamestown Area Community Federal Credit Union, it's an awful, and see if they can restructure the note, you know, to give us a lower monthly payment. Like, okay, yeah, this first month, second month, we got this grant funding, we wanna, you know, buy down our principal balance. That would probably be the strategy.
You'd have to work through your attorneys on that, because if we're in the first position on that, we would have to approve that.
We would, yep. We do, I will say, and I'm sure you all are aware, we do work with all of our local funding partners. In fact, Adam actually comes from Cody, Shop Opportunities for Development Incorporated, so, I think that's sort of how he and Dylan ended up, that's how Dylan recruited him.
They ran out of money, so I had to.
So we have worked on, interagency loan, agreements with Cody and Adam specifically. And we do that all the time with other agencies as well.
So to address the collateral and the lien position, we do have Jamestown on here, so we're probably going to try to make it so that they can have one piece of equipment, so they can have proper collateral also, which should still put a good loan to value on this loans.
Yeah.
Good questions.
They weren't more strict on loan to value, so I think it should be pretty easy on that side.
Anybody have anything else for them at this point in time?
I'd be happy to talk on and on about
Yeah.
economics. That's my formal education background, so I'd be happy to tell you how, people being able to get mortgages in the area is gonna help property values. Property values are gonna help your tax base. Working these industrial sites are gonna create jobs. It's
It's what we,
definitely
There's a
there.
potential return that is beyond what we can
it's what we
quantify
stare at a
here.
board all day and dream about. Cause this stuff.
Us too.
And we hope to be a part of that dream.
Oh, I like people who dream,
Yes. And we're dreaming.
especially local people.
But I'm biting.
We, just to give everyone else a little bit more, because this hasn't been enough, right? We are working on, setting up a meeting with Dylan and Adam, with the IDA, to talk more specifically about 16 Scott Street and acquisition. Again, that's one of those agencies that we partner with a lot. And so, sort of looking at big picture, my recommendation to them was to come to JLDC, give their presentation, specifically focus on their equipment needs, and then we'll reach out to the IDA, we've already reached out, but kind of talk to them about that next phase. The building acquisition, I feel, is something that I think it sort of shows that there's a potential share in risk, right?
Correct.
For our agencies, but also joint investment and interest and the whole. So we'll certainly keep you apprised of how that goes. And
Does the county own that though, or?
they do not. They could foreclose at any time. But they are looking at potentially acquiring the building. So I know, Dylan, you've had conversation with
Yes.
the current owners. So they have already begun that due diligence.
How's that gone?
It's been a process.
Is this still owned by the Blix?
It
It
is.
sure is.
It is.
Side of who?
They've,
Westburg,
yeah.
That's part of
They've,
it.
they've had some, I think it sounds like some successful
yeah.
conversation.
Good.
We've had a
So-
lot of conversation. The conversation right now is about the surrounding property that the Blix family owns that surrounds the 16 Scott, that we
Cause
want
they
to
own
acquire.
more than just that building, yeah.
Correct, they own the lots adjacent to the
Have you
property.
been talking to Dan?
I've been letting my realtor do the talk,
Oh, okay.
so because it's kind of how
Yeah.
we should
Yeah.
talk, but through the negotiation, through the realtor,
Sure.
we're trying to acquire the whole, all of the adjacent properties attached to that structure.
I'll be honest with you, okay,
Yes.
because I'm a pretty straight shooter, as most people know.
Mhm.
My only problem with this loan
Mhm.
is the fact that you don't have a home base in the city, and that's why I
Yes, sir.
brought it up. So I'm just telling you, that's just a personal thing for me.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how anyone else on the sport feels, but
Mhm.
that's just me.
I understand.
Because a lot of people can come in here, and I joke around sometimes, this is like Shark Tank in here, you know? But, people can come in here and tell us they're gonna do this, do that, and
Right.
you can end up staying down in Faulkner and using our money to buy equipment,
I understand.
and we don't have much to say about it from that. That's my only concern.
Yes.
You know?
And I respect you
Yeah,
in a whole, because you want the business to stay in the city,
sure.
Mhm.
and that's our goal too.
Yeah.
And I understand the state's,
But I also,
you know.
I love the fact that you live in the city, you're involved in the city, you're involved with our youth, and we definitely, I see it on a daily basis at Jamestown High School, that we need people like you, we need mentors like you that are involved with our kids in this community, and that's definitely something we miss.
And
We
that
need positive role models around,
Thank you.
because I see on a daily basis that we don't have.
And
Some of
that-
these kids don't have that.
Right, and that's what we're hoping to turn 16 Scott into as well, is an incubator space for people like the Southern Tier Builders Exchange to host these instructional programs using our tiny or our modular build model. It's a very easy, controllable space to be able to teach all of the trades. And with the size of that building, there's more than enough space to host that partnership. And we've been in talks with the Southern Tier Builders Exchange about helping with their workforce development programs and so on and so forth. But to reiterate your point, we need to be back home. They're building relationships with Jamestown High School and Jamestown Community College, and they want to find a space that they can host their programs, and we want to be that space, but we need to be home. We need to be in Jamestown to do so. So my goal in the business's the business's path, it ends here. There's no staying in Faulkner for us. That's a temporary heartache right now.
He wants too much for the
In
business.
his defense,
Mhm.
I will say, he lives near me, and I know his concern for having all those vehicles on the road was vital, cause he is in a residential neighborhood, so.
I was gonna wait to ask the question, but we might as well ask the attorney in the room, what is the implication? The legal business address is still his residential address, but they operate a portion of their business out of the Falconer location. How does that work?
I would have to look at the JLDC bylaws, but I didn't believe when I looked at it overtly today that there was an issue here.
Okay.
Obviously Mr. Monroe was willing to move.
I think the question is, do we have to wait to approve a loan until they move their actual operation part back into the city, or is his home address being the legal business address enough?
I don't believe we have to wait. I think that's enough.
So we're not violating any bylaws?
No. Yep. We frequently do it the other way around, where you have business owners that don't live in the city of Jamestown having a business in the city of Jamestown. Here we have a business owner that lives in the city of Jamestown.
And technically,
Temporary.
his business is run out of his home.
Yes.
He just is using Faulkner for storage, correct?
Your foreman, property manager,
Yes.
everybody's in Jamestown.
Everybody's in Jamestown. My wife and my mother-in-law, who are my front office offensive line, they work in my basement out of computers. From the basement, we have a small hole in the warehouse space in Faulkner that I work out of, just because I
got kicked
house the.
Yeah.
I'm too big to fit in the basement too. But yes, my front office works in my basement. I built my basement around my business.
Yeah, that's good clarification.
Anything else?
I make a motion that we loan Monroe and Moore LLC, 165 Benedict Avenue, Jamestown, New York, $150,000 at 5% interest over a 20-year term.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
This
None?
obviously will have city council.
Cause it's
It's over
150.
100.
Yeah.
So we'll put it through a new business. Can we send an email tomorrow
Yeah.
since we vote this week?
Yeah, good enough.
So Monday night, I don't know if you would want to be there, both of you, one of you, I don't know if you work that night, just in case they have any questions. You have budget beginning at 6,
6.
so if they came at 7 to the
Yes.
work session on the 4th floor, and that way if there's any questions by any of the council members, you're available, and then we'll vote on it that night under new business.
And we also forward all this literature to council.
Absolutely.
at the time.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, we'll have a discussion with them beforehand, but they might wanna ask you personally.
I mean, the only issue, like I said, with the
Jeff brought it up, and if Jeff
Yeah.
voted yes, and y'all voted yes, I think they'll understand, but it
Right.
might not hurt to have you there for it.
Yes, ma'am. Fine with me. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
congratulations.
Monday night, I think.
So we only have two, you
Doesn't
guys
always
are
go
welcome
that
to stay, it's real quick for the rest of it, but if you wanna leave, I don't blame you.
It's on the right civil service test.
The town won't want you, you know that. That's what I said.
I just tell all the firefighters that, yeah, I should have taken your test.
Do any of you wanna actually be economists? No one says yes.
Yeah.
I wanna do it, I wanna work for the
And we
Fed.
do like, they're okay with macro, micro gets a little tough.
Yeah,
Too many numbers, too much math.
the diminishing margin of return.
Yeah.
I'll let him unpack his binder. He's still in.
You're in mine and Erica's
He's
heaven,
dragging me out of
right?
here.
You're in mine and Erica's heaven when you talk economics and
Yeah.
finance.
You know, when Adam and I met, we would talk, and the talks would turn into 4 hours. And it was kind of like this, you know, he always says he's the kid behind the computer, and I'm Batman. But we have a yin and
Is that your Halloween costume?
Yeah, but we have a yin and a yang effect. I'm very personable, and I can sell myself and my business, and Adam can iron out the kinks. So-
Clean up after.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dylan, good seeing you.
Thank you.
I'll send you details about Monday.
Okay.
Okay, thanks guys.
So next on the agenda, we have the consideration for approving revisions to the ARPA nonprofit grant for the YMCA project.
Really quick and simple, the YMCA was, looking to build a new facility on Harrison. That is no longer going to happen there. They are looking to relocate that and are applying for funding, to do a joint partnership with JCC. So they are requesting to, simply change the address of their, nonprofit grant award. That's it.
Was that, money was never taken out,
No, they've not received any money yet.
but it wasn't put, and nothing was taken out or put back in, so it's.
Correct.
Affect, what's left in ARPA?
No, it's still accounted for, it's still
Still accounted for,
allocated,
okay.
we
Just
have
wanted
not
to get
drawn on the funds.
That was
Yep,
200,000.
Yep.
Yep.
correct.
Would that require an act of the council as well? Yes.
It's over 150.
I mean, just to even, we already approved it, but.
Yes, the only thing that's changing is the address
Okay,
that's
just wanted
associated with it, yep.
In the building.
Well, yes. It's
The
a
only thing I
it's a
would
potion, my
ask,
friend.
is still in their thing, it wasn't specific, there was nothing specific to, obviously the building's changing, but there wasn't
Yeah.
anything specific to that location that we would need to.
That's what I was
address.
looking at. Let's see it.
I do have some of the new plans that they've, obviously they're not as far along in the development as they were when they submitted this. I mean, they had this one wholly fleshed out. But they are making some really good progress and they do have some initial schematic drawings. So really what they're looking for, a lot of that 200,000 is going to go toward what we call soft costs, engineering fees, architectural fees, a lot of the intangibles, to get them to a place where they can actually, be able to build something, right? But all the stuff that has to happen on the front end.
Should they
Well-
get that stuff down by the end of next year?
Is we just have
Oh,
to send a
yeah.
contract to them
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah,
So you need this done now because you're using it for the soft cost stuff. Is that what you're
correct,
telling me?
yeah.
So the only thing I would recommend, though, there is some stuff in here that says this facility will be walking distance to Jamestown High School. Everything is, but I mean, I would just maybe ask for a letter of clarification from the Y.
Sure.
Like just,
Yep, I can ask them to do actually I may even have a new,
Update.
I used to walk and change
Yeah.
us from there.
well, yes, but it was intended to be a block down the
Yeah.
road,
Oh,
not,
right.
that's all.
About a mile and a half.
yeah, I probably do have an update, but I will ask John to send a new, that he has signed
And then, again, they're working
in partnership
in
with the
partnership with
college.
JCC, we'll be voting on a resolution, a support resolution on Monday night. for the state funding for the college side of it,
Yeah.
and then also,
Yeah.
they've applied for a joint federal,
Grant funding,
grant
yeah,
as well, for over $20 million, which is
Yeah.
a good chunk of it.
would be, be a huge.
This all kind of plays into.
So do we need to approve that now, or can we do that?
I think we need to come out of here first.
Yes,
Yeah.
approve changing the address, it's really not changing scope so much as it is,
The location.
the
Yeah, because
location
they're
and
trying
the
to
changes that need to happen in order
Improved
to do
air
it.
quality, improved equipment,
Yeah.
increased childcare, and I know that's a huge part of their
Mhm.
development
Yeah.
down there, so I
That all
don't think
stays the
it's
same.
far out of out of their.
Nothing's really changed. except
No, just
the location.
anything that references it being built down in that location
Yeah.
would be my recommendation at the Y update.
Do I need to recuse myself?
Oh, you're on the board, aren't you? You had to recuse yourself last time I
I
amended.
did.
Okay,
I'm on GCC, should I recruit myself?
yes.
So we don't
Do
have
we have
enough?
enough?
Do we have a quorum then?
No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we?
Five.
Oh,
Five
we
is a
do.
quorum.
Okay,
Yep.
6.
Yes.
Because-
We're good.
Well, that's right, you're on
Yeah.
JCC.
Yeah, so we have 6 of us here,
I
so I
just
think
saw
that's
your
fine.
question. We think alike. I just saw that just now.
Oh, really? I thought maybe,
No.
I thought you were stealing his thunder.
No.
He asked on the way
I
out.
literally
Or
just,
you were asking the question that
I had already asked them that when they had been in.
Yeah.
I literally just pulled the email up and I saw your
Yeah.
question. I just-
You weren't the first to ask, believe me. I think all of us thought about that.
No, it
I'm fully
needed to be
aware of
addressed.
open meetings
Yeah.
and having conversations, I didn't want to blindside anybody.
Yeah.
Nope, appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Like Jeff.
This is why I didn't answer you. That's why I didn't answer you, because I had
If I
already
was
asked
sitting there, I
that
would have
question.
kicked him under the table.
Yeah.
That's all right. No, that's a good question.
So
No, it
anyway,
was a good question. It
Back
had
in.
to be asked.
We got enough.
we have 2 recusals. Do we need
Okay.
to vote on the recusals, Elliot?
No.
Okay, I know we do it council, that's why I wondered.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no,
I didn't know if we
we've
did.
adapted any council rules
Okay.
for this, but really bringing it to council.
Okay, so, all in favor of changing that, location, if you will, on the YMCA project?
Do you need a first and a second to read?
What is it, James?
It might, no, I don't think it's James, it actually
It'll
might
on
be
the
Curtis.
side,
Yeah,
no,
It,
Curtis,
it
the
might,
Curtis
I mean, but
address.
they'll use the college address
Yeah,
of 525
yeah.
Falcon.
Yeah. So I think we need a motion, don't we?
Yes,
Yes.
I make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I ask one question before? Because, I mean, obviously, this is a much more complex from a funding source on this now that we have SUNY involved in the state. SUNY, the state through SUNY.
Mhm.
So my presumption is we're approving this as going forward, but I would assume that council will be asking more questions about the project in total, about, you know, that, you know, they're not looking for an unfair percentage from the city and this entity
Yeah.
From G-
versus SUNY,
From JCC side, we're looking at it as 2 different projects.
right?
So we're doing our project,
Mhm.
which is funded with 50% state money from SUNY, 25% county, and then
Mhm.
25 JCC. That's our project. The Y's doing their
Yeah.
own, in concert. So I think that from JCC point of view, they're different.
Okay, that makes, that,
So their finances are not commingled in that way.
and I'm sure they had experience with that with the facilities and only.
Mhm. Yes.
It's similar to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
setup.
it'll be, I think, very
Except
similar.
I think it's backwards.
That's correct.
Right.
JCC came in after.
JCC came in
Should use the reactors.
after the fact. I mean,
yeah,
it was, Y
I
was
didn't
the
realize
driver.
that.
and it's on the
not
JCC
Yeah.
property,
Correct.
not,
It's similar but opposite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
so.
so any
okay.
other
Yes,
questions?
good question, yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
6. No executive session?
No, I don't have one. Okay.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved. So moved. I was looking for my gavel. That's what I'm gonna do that.
You're not the chairman.
Not the chair. though.
So you know, they were asking 80 grand for just that piece of property. Like,
Yeah.
Just the building.
So what's,
not-
Westward?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do we want
they
to
So
were,
he's-
camera
yeah.
stuff? Or
Oh, yes.
what are they on taxes?
No, I haven't read it. but
that's
no.
probably, yeah.
Huh?
What are they on taxes for?
I don't know.
I would not be looking at that.